Sir, are you aware of what happened this evening?
Yeah, I think I heard something. I mean, everybody in town heard something.
Can I see your ID, please?
This is a joke.
Give it to me.
Officer, I'm in here buying some snacks, going to watch the game. I ain't
Give
doing
it to me now!
Okay, you ain't gotta walk up on me like that. Okay. Hey, what you doing with my wallet?
Put your hands up.
For what? I ain't do shit.
Those were a few scenes from a USC project that I did called Brown, and I just wanted to start this video off with those to kind of get everyone in the mindset of thinking about police officers and how they could potentially profile suspects. And as you can see behind me, this is a video that I'm sure many of you are familiar with. This was the cell phone video that was released just last week.
I'm on public property.
There's the recorder of the video being told to stop recording by the police. And this is related to Sandra Bland, who is a 28-year-old African-American woman that was arrested. As you can see, it's happening in this video. She's on the ground with a police officer on her back. And unfortunately, 3 days later, she was found hanging in her jail cell, a supposed suicide. And there's a lot of questions kicking around about that. Now, this is being filmed on July 22nd. I believe that she died on the 13th, and just in the past 9 days, a lot of new information has come out. The police have released a couple of pieces of video. We're going to review small sections of it. It's a lot of video, but I have links down below for everything. And here we are, folks. It's another BrainScratch, this one on Sandra Bland. So let's get started. First of all, the first link I have for you down below is a petition that was sent to me. This is on change.org, and this is to try to get the Department of Justice to investigate this case, to pull away the investigation from the local police office, and to seek an independent autopsy, which I think is a very smart request to try to make sure that the truth is uncovered in terms of circumstances of her death. She notes when she's being pulled and thrown to the ground that her head has been slammed. She mentions some things about not being able to hear, some other ways that possibly might have affected her. It is a possibility that there was some type of cerebral hemorrhage or brain damage that potentially could have occurred in this altercation. What's interesting is, in the police release footage, they actually have a DashCam video that we're going to watch a little bit of. And they have medical services show up, but I don't see them actually get to the car. So I'm not really sure if she was ever checked out by the EMTs that arrive on site. I can hear in the footage they're taking her directly to jail. They're not talking about taking her to any hospital. So for some reason, all those cries of her pains and her needing some type of assistance don't seem to be heard by anyone. Also worth noting, in that first clip that we watched, the police are trying to get the person to stop filming and to leave the scene, and there has been a recent Supreme Court ruling where it is perfectly legal for citizens to film police, particularly in public places and even in some private locations. So if you are one of these video vigilantes, I guess we should start calling them, and you feel like you are filming something that is important, you don't have any reason to stop filming despite what they might be telling you. As long as you are not interrupting with the actual process, you're not getting in between them and their work that they're trying to do. This person maintained a very safe distance, a safe it looks like it's probably 50 to 70 feet away. There was really no reason for the police to be worried about that, especially if they're acting properly. So that kind of raises a question in itself. Also worth noting, Sandra, when she gets pulled out of her car, it seems like she's trying to turn on her own cell phone recording, and they're trying to stop her at that point too. And you have to wonder why. You have to wonder if these guys are following their processes, and these processes are written by the book, and they're being trained to handle these situations properly, why are they so worried about being filmed? It's kind of curious. So please, if you haven't signed this petition, and if you're moved to do so, it's going to be, I'll put it first. It'll be the very first link in the description box below, just a couple of clicks, and you can help support at least the effort to have this properly investigated, which I do believe this case needs. This is an article from Huffington Post, and it basically talks about if Sandra Bland were a white woman, she probably would have not been arrested. And there's both statistical reasons for that. Of course, with our current landscape, what's been happening in our country lately with police excessive force towards African Americans, there's also that aspect. But just a quick quote from here. First, there's no reason why a woman should be forcibly removed from her car simply for smoking a cigarette, even if the officer demanded that she put out the light. The Texas Commercial Motor Vehicle Handbook states, do not smoke or carry a lighted cigarette, cigar, or pipe within 25 feet of any vehicle which contains Class 1 explosives, Class 3 flammable liquids, Class 4 flammable solids, Class 4.2 spontaneously combustible. The handbook states nothing about the illegality of smoking in the car without children, and absolutely nothing about an officer having the right to arrest someone for refusing to put out a cigarette. Nonetheless, it's still likely that the issue of why she didn't cooperate with the officer would be fuel for ideologues like Sean Hannity to justify Miss Bland's arrest. Ideologues? Ideologues? I'm not sure, I haven't seen that word before. But basically it looks like there is no governing statute, there's no law about her not having the right to smoke in her vehicle, and in particular, there doesn't seem to be any law supporting the police in telling people that they can't have their cigarette while they're sitting in their vehicle. So that becomes a bit important when you see how this really went down. Now this is the full 52-minute version. I've watched every minute of it. It has a little bit of controversy we're going to talk about later, but I want to watch the actual exchange. Now, to be fair, this is already 8 minutes and 38 seconds in. What happened before this, the very start of this video, is the officer conducting a different traffic stop in which the person was speeding, and he gives, it seems like it's a college student, he lets her off with a warning. This happens immediately following that. And on the approach, you see Sandra's car, and it moves over into the right lane. The police car is coming up very fast on it. You can notice that the car is coming up fast, and her car moves over to the right without using the signal, and the police car falls in right behind her and pulls her over. After that, the officer asks for her ID and proof of insurance. She apparently gives it to him. He says, wait a few minutes, and he makes her wait maybe 4-5 minutes, and then it picks up here.
Okay, man. You okay?
I'm waiting on you. This is your job. I'm waiting on you. What do you want me to do?
Oh, you seem very irritated.
I am. I really am. I feel like this traffic, what I'm getting tickets for, I'm getting out of your way. You were speeding up, tailing me. So I move over and you stopped it. So yeah, I am a little irritated, but that doesn't stop you from giving me a ticket. So.
Are you done?
Now, I'm already, obviously we have two people that are upset, and I'm already at this point questioning why there are two people that are upset. One person is there doing his job. This should not be any course of action that would start bringing him to any point of anger. Of course, if you're a police officer and you pull people over, you have to realize you are affecting them emotionally. You're probably ruining their day at a minimum. You might be slowing them down for an important appointment. In this case, Sandra was literally only in this state for 1 day before this occurrence happened. And I think we really have to be aware of what has happened and what many African Americans have talked about. They are profiled and pulled over constantly. And then once they're pulled over, it's almost like the police seem to try to drum up charges in almost any way they can. Even Chris Rock talks about this. He literally hates driving because even Chris Rock is pulled over frequently. And that in itself starts speaking to this larger cultural issue that I don't think we really have addressed. I think that for a lot of people, the Civil War is still living on. And I'm not saying that it's in an organized fashion where, you know, there's people that are still getting together with their Confederate flags and having meetings. There might be, but I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is specifically within certain Americans, there seems to be a not a complete resolution to the issues of different races. And that means that within all of us, we want to say, yes, no, we're perfectly fair. I would treat a white person exactly like I would treat an African American. But the truth of the matter is a bit different as demonstrated. So already at this point, he's bothered enough by her expression, which later in the video he says she was looking forward and she wouldn't even look at him. So it's just kind of curious to me that he's even able to really get a good sense of what her expression is. However, he's bothered enough by her expression to mention it, and then she explains why she's feeling that way, which to me is perfectly reasonable. As I said, you can see it in this footage, the police car is coming up very fast on her car, and it does appear that she's moving out of the way to allow him to pass by. Now, should she have flipped her blinker on? Sure, absolutely. She's wrong, right? She didn't use her blinker. But I think we have to wonder and just think about the mode of the officer in this. How is he contributing to what's going on here? Because she is not a professional. Okay, it should not be her job to understand what it's like to be pulled over. Hopefully, this would be one of the few times that she would ever be pulled over in her life. What if it was her first time? She doesn't need to have those considerations. The officer needs to be trained properly and understand those types of considerations so that he can handle those situations safely. And what you're going to see from here just seems to be a pattern of escalation.
You asked me what was wrong and I told you.
Okay.
So now I'm done, yeah.
Okay. You mind putting out your cigarette, please, if you don't mind?
I'm in my car, but I put out my cigarette.
Now, I just want to note here, he's not commanding her to put out the cigarette. He specifically states, do you mind putting out the cigarette, or would you mind? Actually, let's listen to it again so we get it word for word. It's kind of hard because at the end, his voice gets a little muffled.
You mind putting out your cigarette, please, if you don't mind?
You mind putting out your cigarette, please? If you mind, I think is what it sounds like, which doesn't make sense. But he does clearly say, do you mind putting out your cigarette? That's not exactly a command to put out her cigarette, which honestly, even if he did, we read before, there doesn't seem to be any legality to support or to give him the right to do that. At this point, this is an extremely minor traffic infraction. This is not, she's not in a jail cell where they're telling her you can't smoke here and they might have jurisdiction to do so. This is a whole different situation. She is a citizen with full rights at this point. And apparently, we're not going to actually get to that watching this video because it's 52 minutes long. Apparently, he's only going to give her a warning at this point. And in my opinion, if this dude was being professional, even if he was pissed off about her attitude, which she definitely has an attitude about what's going on here, like I said, you can choose to justify it or not, right? There's still something about his pattern of escalation that feels unprofessional. It feels like he goes from 0 to 60. And if he wanted to be a true professional at this point, he would take that warning, turn around, go back to his car, and write up an official ticket, and then go and give her the ticket. That's perfectly within his right to do so. Might teach her a lesson about putting out that cigarette next time, allows her to go on her way and continue her life, which this woman just moved to Texas because she was taking a new job. She had this whole new life that she was ready to start, and here she is only a day into it, and it apparently looks like she has hit an officer that is using profiling methods, and it gets worse from there.
I'm in my car, but I have to put out my cigarette.
Well, you can step on out now.
I don't have to step out of my car.
Step out of the car. Step out of the car.
No, you don't have the right.
Step out of the car.
You do not have the right to do that.
I do have the right. Now step out or I will remove
I
you.
refuse to talk to you other than to identify myself.
Step out or I will remove
I am
you.
getting removed for a failure.
Step out or I will remove you. I'm giving you a lawful order. Get out of the car now or I'm going to remove you.
And I'm calling my...
I'm going to yank you out of here.
Okay, you going to yank me out of my car?
Get out.
Okay, all right.
25.
Let's do this.
Yeah, we're going to.
Yeah. Don't touch me.
Get out of the car.
Don't touch me. I'm not under arrest. You don't have the right to take
You
me
are
out of
under
my car.
arrest.
I'm under arrest for what?
25.
For what?
7 County FM 1098. Just
For
north
what?
of 290. Send another unit. Get out of the car. Get out of the car now.
Why am I being apprehended? You're trying to give me a ticket
I said
for
get
failure?
out of the car.
Why am I being apprehended? You
I'm
just
giving
opened
you a
my car
lawful
door.
order.
You just
I'm
opened
gonna
my
drag
car
you
door.
out of here.
So you're threatening to drag me out of my own car.
Get out of the car.
And then you
I will
stop
light
me?
you up. Get out.
Wow.
Now.
Wow.
Get out of the car.
For a fa-
Does that sound like a professional that is under control at that point? Now, I understand that some police are trained to shout specific orders to startle the suspect to do things, but do you really think this guy is in control at this point? Also, he keeps saying that he is giving her a lawful order. That is highly debatable and questionable. Later in this video, he's talking to a commanding officer, and he says that he never said that she was under arrest. Well, here we see he says that you're under arrest, get out of your car, and the only thing Sandra is doing is trying to find out what the charge is. What's interesting about probably 25 minutes in is you'll hear this officer get on the phone. I believe it's with his commanding officer, but it might even be a legal representative of the department, and he's literally flipping through a book almost like he's looking for charges that will potentially stick and support him in this case. And he talks a lot about how she is not listening to him, that he's trying to calm her down over and over, which we're going to watch, and I think you'll be pretty hard-pressed to see any moments where he's trying to calm her down. And not once in any of that conversation with his commanding officer does he mention anything that she says about how she's been treated, how she was pulled out. I don't even know if he mentions pulling her out of the car by taser. He just keeps referencing that she kicked him at some point, which quite honestly isn't in this footage. There was another officer that showed up, and it looks like they might have seen this kick happen, but at that point I believe that she might have been already on the ground. And if your legs are flailing around and there's an officer behind you, and one of your legs happens to strike the officer, yeah, I guess you can consider that a kick. But you can see from very early on, he gets her in cuffs and has her in a position where she is not facing him. So premeditation for her to be hitting him in any way is kind of difficult when her head's literally facing the opposite direction.
Failure to signal. You doing all of this for
Get over there.
Right, yeah. Yeah, let's take this to court. Let's do
Go
it.
ahead.
For a failure to signal. Yep, for a failure to signal.
Get off the...
Now at this point, I have to wonder two things. Now I know there is some aspect to safety about trying to get her possibly on the sidewalk. Now if he's following the procedure that I see police around here do, his car is probably out a bit further than hers to try to protect them from traffic. What I'm wondering is, why is it normal police procedure for him to take the suspect outside of the range of the dash cam? What the hell good is having a camera on your car if they're not trained to keep the events happening within the camera. Now, like I said, yes, there's safety considerations. You want to get her on the sidewalk. There is also current technology, which is a little item that could be added to the officer that sends a little signal back to the camera, and the camera has a little motor in it and it's able to turn. And for some reason we don't have that technology in use, quite honestly, in any police cam footage that I've seen. And if anything, if anyone out there has any influence, please put that suggestion out there, because there's no reason why we should have a camera that isn't smart enough to follow the officer. He's already got a transmitter on him for the audio to come back, so they just need another transmitter to tell the camera where he is. The other point I'm wondering, this is clearly a digital camera. How many digital cameras that are modern do not have a setting for widescreen? That makes almost no sense in my mind. Outside of it being widescreen, they could use a lens so that you could show even more of what's going on out here. But even assuming all that, even if you can't have it widescreen for some reason, which makes no sense because I know you can, if it was widescreen, you could, even if you didn't have the remote that I'm talking about to get the camera to move on its own, you could angle the camera, still have captured exactly everything they did to here, and come over. If it would be over here, we'd at least see them in the frame. But you also have all this room over here. You literally could have that much more picture, which would definitely capture everything that happens over there. And that is the right side of the road. That is most likely where all the action is always going to happen if the officer is following this procedure to take them to the sidewalk. So, it's kind of strange.
Oh, let's go!
Get off the phone.
I'm not on the phone. I have a right to
Put your
record.
phone
This is
down.
my property.
Put your phone down.
Sir?
So there is, like I said, it seems like she's trying to record what's going on, and he is demanding she put her phone down. She put her phone down. Luckily, somewhere around this point is where this other pedestrian, vigilante camera person, starts filming and picking it up, but unfortunately it's after she's already on the ground. And I'm not quite sure when that happens in time.
Put your phone down right now. Put your phone down.
So fucking family signal my goodness.
Come on.
You can see them in the picture here. I'm telling you, if this camera was set to widescreen, which I can't think of a current modern digital video camera that doesn't, quite frankly, most of them would use that as default. To put it in good old 4:3 1980s television format is usually a setting change. If this thing was in widescreen, we'd already be seeing a lot more of what's going on, because they're literally standing just right over here.
Over here.
Y'all are anxious.
Come over here now.
You feeling good about
Stand right here.
You feeling good about yourself?
Stand right
You
there.
feel your signal. You feel real good
Turn
about yourself,
around.
don't you?
Turn around.
You feel good about yourself, don't
Turn
you?
around now.
What are you?
Put your hands
Why
behind
am
your
I
back and
being
turn around.
arrested?
Turn around.
Why can't you tell
I'm
me
giving you a lawful order. I'm
why
going to
am
tell
I
you.
being arrested?
Turn
Why
around.
won't you tell me that part?
I'm giving you a lawful order. Turn around.
Why will you not tell me
You are not
what's going on?
compliant.
I'm not complying because you just pulled me out of my car.
Turn around.
Are you fucking kidding me? This is some bullshit.
Put your hands behind your back.
Because you know this is straight bullshit and you full of shit. Full of straight shit. That's all y'all are, some scary fucking cops. South Carolina got y'all bitch asses scared. That's all it is. Fucking scared of a female.
If you would just let...
I just have to say here, you know, she's saying you're just scared, you're scared of a female. And I have a tendency to agree with her. In particular, I think his fear is due in part to her being an African American. And on top of that, she seems to be bigger than him. If this was a straight out fight, I would have my money on her, especially with how passionate she is. No doubt that she is playing into this pattern of escalation. But like I said, she's not the one responsible for being trained for handling this type of escalation. So I think we've watched enough of that. The video link is down below if you want to watch the whole thing and see where it goes from there. At some point, she supposedly kicks him. He's laughing about it later, talking about how he's not really hurt, though now I'm reading in news stories he's saying that he's suffering pain from the kick. It's really, it's an odd case, and I think for all the talk that we have about being supportive of how difficult a police officer's job is. This is not a good example that falls into that, not even close. What's also worth mentioning about this footage is, oh man, you Elisa Lam fans are going to love this. Apparently it's been edited. Now, what we watched was most of the footage that I thought was most important until I watched the whole thing. Like I said, if you listen to him talking to his commanding officer after, there are some pretty telling things and interesting conclusions you can come to about his motivation, how he's representing the story, where he's trying to take the events. But for some reason, during that segment, there are a couple of quite noticeable video edits. Like, for example, there's a car driving down the street and all of a sudden, blink, it disappears. There's a tow truck that shows up and all of a sudden the driver is outside his tow truck, blink, nope, he's walking over here. And then, oh, it happens again. It's extremely odd, and there is a great website that goes into it. BenNorton.com has done some really good analysis on it, so I'm including that down below. And just one of the things noticed here is an award-winning filmmaker also agrees that the video has been edited. The official word from the police is, no, we didn't edit it on purpose, this is some type of glitch. I can tell you a camera glitch of that nature I have never, ever seen. I have worked with not just digital, I've worked with videotape, but we know this is digital. We know that things can glitch. I've seen files get corrupted and are not viewable. I've never seen where a file maintains the audio soundtrack, but the video reverts to a previous place and then plays the same clip and then later catches up and is showing proper. It's extremely odd. Now they're saying that it's possibly some glitch that happened when they uploaded it to YouTube. And there, I can tell you, I have uploaded probably over 500 videos to YouTube. I've never seen a glitch like that. I've watched thousands and thousands of videos on YouTube. And the only glitch that even comes close to it is occasionally I will see a video where at the end of the video it starts replaying itself again. But it is nothing like this glitch that they're talking about. So there seems to be some editing that happens there. It doesn't seem to mean a lot to me because there's nothing that they could really be hiding at that point. She's already in the car, she's already been detained, the officer is talking on the phone to someone else, so I don't know why only the video segment would be altered like that. There's nothing that I can imagine that would be important for them to remove or to hide in the video footage. The audio soundtrack is a different thing because, like I said, he's talking to his commanding officer, and even though people think the audio is consistent all the way through, I know that I've done editing tricks where I could mask that. So potentially, the audio might have some edits in it that no one has been able to detect yet or that we may never detect. So, but please check out Ben's website for more details on those edits. Now, what also was released today is footage of the jail cell, and unfortunately it's horrible. And not only is it horrible, you might also notice on the other footage there was no timestamp, and here we are again, no timestamp. Security cameras without timestamps are practically unheard of. Usually in digital systems it's not always displayed on screen, sometimes it's an option you have to turn on, but if you're going to be smart enough to try to get this footage to release it to the public for supposed total transparency, which is what this police department is saying, you'd probably think to turn on that timestamp, and no one has. The angle is horrible. Honestly, I don't even know what you would have this camera there for. It's not looking into any cells, it's literally just looking down a hallway. And not only is the footage just in itself all pretty terrible in terms of quality, but this footage is someone taking a camcorder to a computer screen. So for some reason they couldn't even get a decent export of this footage that was pure digital to digital. You're watching a digital monitor just like you guys are right now. Someone's holding a camera recording it, and you can tell because there's all this extra light that's happening over here, and people keep walking by that and changing how the screen looks. You can see the menu over there for the camera system. It kind of pops into frame occasionally. Right here, you can see the bottom of the play window. Why this would be the official video, I'm not sure. Now, this footage, like I said, it's only 12 minutes long. This footage appears to be when they discovered the body. One of the other things that has come out about that, I saw a clip with one of the police officers talking about the jail cells, is apparently there are other cells across from hers, and they said that I think it was women that were in the other cells, those inmates didn't see anyone go into her cell. Well, could they see into her cell or not? If they could, why didn't they say, we saw her hang herself? It's very, very strange. And apparently she hung herself with a plastic trash bag. You saw this woman's personality. You saw how strong she was fighting for her justice, just for her personal sense of justice in that video clip. Do you really think that she goes through 3 days of being detained, and on the day that she's due to be released, she has breakfast that morning, she supposedly asks for her phone call, which I'm still wondering why she didn't get that phone call before the 3rd day, and then all of a sudden an hour later they find her hanging? Very, very odd. So, news is coming out really fast on this, and on Monday of this week, officials released a 3-hour video footage from inside the jail. So that footage does exist. Apparently I just can't find the full clip. I'm finding just the time that they actually find her body. And it does not show what occurred inside the cell when she died. The officer who stalked Bland, Texas Department of Public Safety Trooper Brian Encina, 30, was placed on administrative duties after he was found to have violated procedures. And state officials have concluded that Waller County Jail did not follow state jail standards that require inmates be observed once every hour. Waller County District Attorney Elton Mathis said Monday he is treating Bland's death as a murder investigation. The Texas Rangers, along with the FBI, are leading a formal investigation into the incident. And if you want to help the Department of Justice get in on this and help make sure that this gets investigated as thoroughly as possible, please be sure to sign that change.org petition. I know the DOJ relies on the FBI. I hope that it flows the other way, and that if the FBI is involved, that they will also report to the Department of Justice on this case, but I don't know enough about that system to know if information kind of routes both ways there. So why don't we all do just a little quick step at change.org and make sure that the DOJ looks into this. Apparently, that Waller Jail has also had different issues. This is a segment by RT, who is a news source. It's actually paid for by Russia, which is pretty interesting, but I find that they keep a pretty keen eye on our country and definitely like reporting on all kinds of different aspects of it, but particularly things that are troubling for us that sometimes mainstream media might not report on. You can usually find good coverage about it on RT. This is, I believe, a legal analyst that they have on.
I would add, though, that I don't know if it's something about that particular detention center, but as you know, there was an earlier hanging of an inmate as a result of an assault, an alleged assault against an officer. So I think that investigation is also still pending, and so clearly the district attorney wants to be careful. And of course, if it was not self-inflicted, then it would have to be some other form of homicide.
So it seems like that detention center has a list of problems now going on there. Finally, I just wanted to end with, what do the powers that be have to say about all this? And I did find a quote from Hillary Clinton. "My heart breaks at seeing another young African-American life lost too soon," Clinton said in a statement on Wednesday. Sandra Bland had a bright future ahead of her, and it is particularly tragic that she lost her life just as she was to start her new career. Clinton added, "From what I've seen, the circumstances of this case are incredibly disturbing. I hope and expect that there will be a full investigation into this situation. It is also a tragic reminder of the ongoing systemic issues of race and justice in America that we must address with urgency, and we have to do more than talk. We have to take action." You know, it wasn't too long ago, I remember through the 80s and 90s how many different ballots we had that were asking for increase in police force, increase in police force. Well, they went through, and here we are, and now I'm almost feeling like the management for the police force is either not big enough or not functional enough or not monitoring enough, and maybe we should change those video cameras and put them on widescreen so you get all this extra stuff out here. Maybe we should turn those cameras so that they don't only show what's in front of the car but also pick up what happens on the sidewalk. Maybe they should buy more equipment, have body cams. There's a lot of ways that technology can help address this, but unfortunately I think right now what we're seeing is the technology exposing these old practices that need to be addressed, and need to be addressed rather quickly. Man. Well, Brain Scratchers, thank you for making it through this one. This one really leaves my heart in a heavy place. There's so much pain that comes up whenever this happens, and this happens so frequently that it's really hurtful, and that's part of the reason why I really wanted to be part of that USC project and play that role, even if it meant that I had to step into that mindset and put my face on that problem. I was kind of proud to do it. I just wish that it was something that only happened in the movies instead of something that happens in real life time and time again. I wish you all safety. If you're ever pulled over, please do the right thing. Keep yourself safe above all. And help these things change. Check out change.org. And maybe there's other petitions that I need to sign there. If you see any that might help with this that I don't know about, be sure to drop those in the comments below. And I will catch you next week on BrainScratch. Take care.